Okay, so today we're talking about something that I think is a superpower
Yeah.
for anyone who deals with data,
Mm.
and that is the power to be able to summarize it and group it really effectively.
This is really important.
So this is like basically how to find the meaning
Yeah.
in a whole bunch of rows and columns.
Absolutely.
And we have a bunch of resources we're going to be going through.
We do.
And our mission, basically, is to equip you with the skills to be able to just see the insights in the data
Pull them right out.
like that, to see the patterns,
Absolute.
and to do it fast.
Quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Whether you're preparing for some big meeting or just trying to wrap your head around a new field, these are really important things to be able to do.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be looking at
SQL?
SQL. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how SQL lets us do this.
Right.
We're going to be calculating totals, figuring out averages, counting items. But even more importantly, we're going to be breaking our data down into meaningful chunks.
Yes.
So we can understand what's going on.
That's the key.
Yeah.
There.
Okay. So let's kind of unpack this a little
Okay.
bit. We're going to be focusing on some core SQL concepts.
All right.
They might sound kind of technical at first,
They do.
but trust me,
Oh, yeah?
they're surprisingly intuitive
They are.
and incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So we're talking about things called aggregate functions. These are your go-to tools for summarizing data.
Okay.
We're talking about SUM,
Adding things up.
adding everything up.
Yeah.
AVG for finding the average
That's a good one.
count to tell you how many of something you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then MIN and max to pinpoint the lowest and highest values.
Extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll also be exploring the grow UP by Y clause.
Oh, yeah.
So that's basically how you organize your data into categories.
It is.
And then the having clause, which lets you filter those categories based on specific criteria.
Very cool.
So our goal today is to give you a really clear grasp
Okay.
of these SQL tools so that you can actually use them
Yes.
to answer questions about your data.
This is what it's all about,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so why should we care about all this?
Yeah. Why should you care about this? So
Yeah.
imagine you're looking at a massive spreadsheet of customer orders.
Yeah.
So you've got just all this data.
Yeah.
And, you know, without these techniques, it's just...
Sea of information.
It's just a whole bunch of transactions. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But with aggregations and grouping, you can instantly see.
Like total revenue,
Yeah.
average order value,
Excellent.
the total number of customers.
All that good stuff. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then if you group that data
Yeah.
by region
Yeah.
or product type or something,
Yeah.
then you can really start to understand
Yeah.
which areas are performing the best, which products are most popular, all sorts of stuff.
It's about turning that raw data
Yeah.
into actual understanding
Yeah,
and actionable insights.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with these aggregate functions.
Okay.
At their core,
Yeah.
they perform a calculation across a whole bunch of values,
Right.
but they give you back one result.
It summarizes it all.
Yeah, it's like taking a whole stack of invoices and just instantly knowing the grand total
Yeah.
without adding them all up individually.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
So in SQL, we have a few key functions for this.
Okay.
First up is SUM,
As you might expect.
as you might expect, yeah.
It sums.
It adds up all the numbers in a column.
That's right.
So if you have a table of sales transactions,
Yeah.
you could use SUM amount
Right.
to find your total revenue.
Yeah.
And that's more useful than looking at each individual sale, right?
Absolutely.
So the SQL command for that would look like
Okay.
select to amount as total revenue from sales.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, we have AVG,
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites.
which does exactly what it says.
It does.
It calculates the average value in a column.
Right.
So going back to our sales example,
Okay.
select AVG amount as average sale from sales.
Yeah.
Would tell you your average transaction size.
Yep.
And that can be helpful for understanding spending habits and things like that.
Customer behavior.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure. Then we have count.
All right. Count.
This one's a little versatile.
It is.
If you use count,
Yeah.
it's going to count every single row in your table,
Every single one.
no matter what,
Even if they're empty.
even if they're empty.
NOL values.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So select count
Yeah.
as total transactions from sales.
Yep.
Gives you the total number of sales.
Exactly.
But here's a
If-
key point.
There's a nuance here.
If you specify a particular column name
Okay.
inside the parentheses of count,
Mm-hmm.
like count customered,
Yeah.
it will only count the rows
Yeah.
where that specific column has a value.
A non-NLO value.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this is really good for
Yeah.
figuring out how many customers you have,
Right.
for example.
How many unique customers are there?
Yeah, exactly. Then we have MIN and max.
Oh, my other two favorites.
These are simple, but powerful for finding the extremes.
Yeah.
So MIN will find the smallest value in a column,
Mm-hmm.
and max will find the largest value.
Yeah.
So select min amount as smallest sale from sales tells you the smallest transaction,
Right.
and select max amount as largest sale from sales.
The biggest one.
Tells you the biggest one.
Yeah.
And this could be useful for spotting outliers or understanding the range of your sales.
Absolutely.
So a really valuable thing to keep in mind about these
Yes, this is a good one.
is that they generally ignore any NLL values.
Yes, they do.
So if you have missing data in a column that you're trying to summarize, those blanks won't mess up your calculation.
They don't count.
They won't be counted.
Exactly.
So if you're doing a SUM or AVG or something, it makes it much easier to analyze real-world data.
Real-world data is messy.
Because it's rarely perfectly clean.
It always has NLLs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So
okay, so we've got these aggregate functions, but sometimes
you need more.
Sometimes you need to look at things in more detail.
Yeah.
So
it's like instead of just a total or an average across the whole data set.
Across the whole thing.
Yeah.
You want to dig a little deeper.
You want to dig a little deeper.
And see how these numbers break down by different categories.
Yeah.
And that's where GRU P by Y comes in.
GRU UP by.
It's so useful.
So GRU P by Y is like saying, hey, instead of giving me one big number, could you break this down?
Break it down for me.
By different categories.
By category, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pick a column.
One or more columns.
Or columns. And SQL will group all the rows that have the same value in those columns together.
Yep.
It's like sorting a deck of cards by suit.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you've grouped your data,
okay,
you can then apply an aggregate function to each of those groups independently. Yeah,
but
so instead of just the average sale amount for all your transactions, you could find the average sale amount for each product category.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the SQL for that would look like select category, AVG amount, as average sale from sales group E by category.
So you're selecting the category and the average sale amount.
Yep.
But you're telling SQL to group you by the category. I like it.
So it's going to give us a result where each row is a different product category.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to show the average sale for just that category.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's make this real.
Yeah.
Let's think about a real world example here.
Okay.
So imagine you have a table of website visits with columns like country and visit duration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you wanted to know the average visit duration for users from each country, you would use select country, AVG, visit duration, as average visit duration from website visits, group P by country.
Okay, so you're grouping by the country?
Grouping by country and getting that average visit duration.
Okay.
So this is going to show you which countries have the most engaged users.
Okay.
Right? So that's useful information.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes perfect sense.
All right.
So we've learned how to summarize data with aggregate functions.
Yes.
We've learned how to organize data into groups.
We have.
Using GRU P by.
Yep.
But what if you only want to see certain groups?
Oh, yeah.
That meet a specific condition?
Right.
Like maybe you only care about product categories that have sales above a certain amount.
Okay.
That's where having comes in.
That's one of my favorite clauses.
So having it allows you to filter the grouped results.
That's right.
Based on the outcome of an aggregate function.
Yes.
So it's kind of similar to the where clause.
Yeah, it's similar in concept.
Yeah, but the difference...
But there's a big difference.
...is that where filters individual rows.
Before grouping.
Before any grouping happens.
Right.
Having filters.
After the groups are made.
After
the aggregation.
Yeah.
It's like saying, okay, first organize everyone into teams. Okay.
Yeah.
Now only show me the teams that scored more than 100 points.
Okay.
Right? You're filtering the groups.
Yeah. Where is for the raw data?
The raw data.
Having is for...
the aggregated data.
The summarized groups.
Yep.
Okay, so can you give me an example of how having works?
Sure.
Like a clear one.
So let's go back to employee salaries.
Okay.
All right, so we've got our employees.
Yep.
We've grouped them by department.
Okay.
We've calculated the average salary for each department. But we only want to see the departments with an average salary greater than, let's say, $60,000.
Okay.
So the SQL would look like this
okay.
select department, AVG salary, as average salary from employees grouped by department having AVG salary 60,000.
Okay, so you're saying...
So we're selecting the department.
Yeah.
The average salary,
Right.
we're grouping by the department,
Yeah.
and then we're saying,
Yeah.
but only show me the ones where that average salary...
With above 60,000.
It's greater than 60,000.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so first it groups by department.
Right.
Then it calculates the average salary.
For each department.
For each department.
Yeah.
And then it only shows the departments where that average salary is above 60,000.
That's right.
Got it.
You got it.
What about like a real world scenario for having in a different context?
Okay. So let's go back to our website visits example.
Okay.
All right. So we've got...
Website visits by referring website.
Yeah, we've got website visits grouped by the referring website. Okay.
And we've calculated the total number of visits from each referring website.
Okay. Now you only want to see the websites that send you more than 500 visits.
Right.
Okay.
So the sequel would look like this.
Okay.
Select referring website. Count as total visits from website visits grouped by referring website having count 500.
So you're first grouping by the referring website.
Yep.
And then you're counting the total visits.
That's right.
And then you're only showing the ones
where that count is greater than 500.
that are above 500.
Exactly.
Got it.
You got it.
So this is starting to make sense to me.
Good.
Let's think about how all this comes together.
Okay.
In an actual application.
In the real world.
In the real world.
Yeah.
So imagine we're actually managing an online store database.
Okay. I like it.
How would we use these concepts to get valuable insights?
Oh, this is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
So
like a basic thing would be
Yeah.
to calculate total sales for each product.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
you would use...
Select product name, SEO sales, as total sales from products grouped by Y product name.
Okay, so you're selecting the product name.
Yep.
And you're summing the sales.
Summing the sales to get the total sales.
And grouping by the product name.
Grouping by product name, so you get a nice summary
So you can see...
for each product.
Yeah, which ones are selling the best.
Exactly. This tells you your best sellers.
Yeah.
It's not just interesting, it actually informs decisions.
Yeah, like inventory.
Inventory decisions,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah. Super valuable.
Okay.
Okay.
What about average order value?
Oh, average order value per customer.
Per customer.
That's a good one.
This is a classic metric.
It is a classic for e-commerce.
Yeah.
So how would you do that?
How would you do that?
You would group the data by customer EAD
Okay.
and calculate the average of the order total.
So it would be?
Select customer EAD, AVG, order
Mhm.
total, AVG, order total, as average order value from orders groupie by customer EAD.
Okay, so you're selecting the customer read?
And the average order total.
Yep.
And you're grouping by customer EAD
That's right.
to get the average order value per customer.
Per customer. That's it.
Yeah. And that can reveal a lot about
Oh, yeah.
like different customer segments.
Different customer segments.
And their spending habits.
Their spending habits, exactly.
Okay. What if you wanted to find the top 5 best-selling products?
Okay.
That seems like something that people ask for a lot.
It's a very common report.
Yeah, that's right.
How would you do that?
Okay, so for this, we need to combine a few things. So
Okay.
first, we're going to group by the product name.
Okay.
And then we're going to calculate the sum of sales.
Okay.
But then we need to order these results
Yeah.
from highest sales to lowest.
Yeah.
And then just show the top 5.
Okay.
So the sequel for that would look like
Okay.
select product name, SUM sales,
Mhm.
as total sales from products grouped by product name, order by total sales, DESI SE limit 5.
Okay, so you're selecting product name, summing the sales.
To get the total sales.
Total sales.
Grouping by product name.
Grouping by product name.
Okay, and then
We're using order by
order by.
to arrange those results
Okay.
from highest to lowest.
So order by total sales descending,
That's right, descending.
and then limit 5.
Limit 5 to just get the top 5.
So you're using the order by clause
Yeah,
to basically sort the results.
that's right, to sort the results.
So it's important to remember the distinction.
Yeah, this is a good point.
Groupie by Y organizes the rows into
You
groups.
start aggregation.
Yeah.
Right.
And then order by Y just arranges the final output
Final output
to
exactly.
however you want.
However you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they go together.
They do.
Right, you group and then you
Just
order
get the information you need
in a clear and concise way.
in a right order.
Exactly.
So, yeah, what if you wanted to calculate the total revenue
Okay.
generated each year?
For each year.
So let's say you have an order date column. How would you do that?
Okay, so assuming you've got that order date column,
Yeah.
you can extract the year from it
Yeah.
using a function like year,
Okay.
and then you group by that year
Okay.
So the sequel would be
Okay.
select year order date
Oy.
as year SUM revenue as total revenue from orders group by year order date.
So you're selecting the year from the order date.
Extracting the year.
And then you're summing the revenue.
To get the total revenue for each year.
And then you're grouping by the year.
That's right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you can track your growth over time.
Track your growth over time.
Yeah.
Okay. What if you wanted to find the department that has the absolute highest average salary?
Okay, so this is where we combine a few things again.
Okay.
We're going to group by department.
Okay.
Calculate the average salary for each.
Mm-hmm.
Order those results in descending order.
Okay.
Based on average salary.
Mm.
And then use limit 1
to
just show the top row.
Okay, so the sequel is?
Select department, AVG salary,
Mm-hmm.
at average salary. From employees group by department, order by average salary, disc limit 1.
So we're selecting the department and the average salary, grouping by department.
Grouping by department.
Ordering by average salary descending.
Yeah.
And then just taking the top one.
Just the top one?
To see the highest one.
To get that department with the highest average salary.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
What about understanding customer engagement?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So how would you count the total number of orders placed by each customer?
Okay, so for this, you're going to group by customer ED.
Okay.
And then use count.
Okay.
To count the number of orders within each of those customer groups.
Okay.
So the sequel would be select customer, count as order count from orders group by Y customer id.
So you're selecting the customer ED, counting star, to get the order count.
The total orders for that customer.
And then you're grouping by customer ED.
That's right.
So you can see how many each customer has placed.
You got it.
Okay, and then how could you specifically identify the customers who have placed more than...
More than a certain number?
Yeah, more than 10 orders, let's say.
Okay, so this is where having comes in again.
Having.
It's so useful.
So you're saying you would?
Yeah, so we're going to group by customer ID, count their orders, and then use having to filter those groups and only show the customers where that order count is greater than 10.
Okay.
So sequel for that would be select customer ID, count, as order count from orders group by customer ID, having count 10.
Okay, so you're selecting customer ID, counting the orders, grouping by customer ID.
Grouping by customer ID.
And then only showing the ones.
Where the count is greater than 10.
Where the count is greater than 10.
That's it.
Okay, I think I'm getting this.
I think you are.
So just to recap, the core ideas here.
Yeah, let's summarize.
Aggregate functions like SEM, AVG, and count.
Those are your bread and butter.
Yeah, are your essential tools for like boiling down large amounts of data
into single insightful numbers.
Yeah, numbers that tell you something.
Yeah.
The GRUP by Y clause is the key to organizing your data into logical categories.
Based on shared characteristics.
And then the having clause lets you filter those resulting groups.
Based on the aggregated values.
Based on the aggregated values, yeah. So you can really focus in
on the stuff to care about.
On the stuff that matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so these three concepts working together.
They're a powerful toolkit.
Yeah, they form a really powerful toolkit.
Yes, they do.
For exploring and understanding data.
No matter the size.
Yeah.
You can start to see patterns.
Yeah.
Identify key trends.
Yeah.
Extract really important performance indicators.
Really quickly.
Efficiently.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But it's important to remember that this is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more.
There's a lot more to learn.
That you can do with SQL.
Absolutely. You could start exploring things like subqueries.
Subqueries.
Or window functions.
Window functions.
These are really cool.
Which build on these ideas.
Yeah, they do. So it all starts here.
Yeah.
This is the foundation.
This is the foundation.
Absolutely.
So this brings up a question for you, the listener.
Yes, a question for you.
What kinds of data sets
what do you work with?
Do you encounter in your work, your hobbies, your personal life, that you could start to apply
these techniques to?
These summarization and grouping techniques to?
Think about spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets.
Databases.
Even lists of information you keep track of.
Yeah.
How could summarizing that data and grouping that data potentially reveal new insights?
Yeah.
Help you make better decisions.
That's the power of what we've talked about today.
Taking information. And turning it into
understanding.
Actionable knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's the real superpower.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love this stuff.
This is really cool.
It is.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today
Thanks for having me.
on the Deep Dive.
It's been fun.